Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being out here. Thank you for, I just almost lost this microphone. I think we're good. Univision, are we okay? Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to try not to break anything today.
Wait.
Did you say I broke something?
No, it's...
That didn't take long.
Yeah, it's not coming in. Hold on.
Okay. So, they didn't teach me this in mayor school, so please.
3, 2, mic check.
My goal is to be accessible, so I want to make sure we wait until we get all the equipment fixed.
3, 2, mic check.
So you can't go wrong with a pen and notepad, right? No technical problems there.
3, 2, 1, mic check. Oh, I know what it is. 3, 2.
Perfect. Cool.
Yeah, it wasn't all the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, kind of. Sorry about that. Perfect. That should work. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to touch that. All right. So again, welcome. Thank you all for being out here. Thank you for coming to the news briefing despite the snow outside. It's a cold day in Wichita, but a good day as always. And we're going to jump right in. I actually have just a couple topics, and then we're going to hear an update for some of the different departments here as well. But I do want to introduce Justin. Justin is a shadow. He's shadowing me for part of the day. He's a senior over at Collegiate, and he is interested in possibly serving in local government in the future. So bless his heart, and we're glad you're here to get a bit of a crash course on what that's like. So that actually helps me introduce this next topic, which is about civic engagement. Today I have Corey Bukta, neighborhood representative from District 2 and 5, who is one of the teachers of the the City Civic Engagement Academy. Launched in 2017, the Academy began as a way to introduce interested individuals into community involvement and educate them on how turning the page without knocking over the mic, how local government operates. The program also challenges individuals to get involved in their communities. So here to tell us more is Corey. So here you go, Corey.
Thank you, Mayor. Civic Engagement Academy is a free 8-week course that includes facility tours, guest presenters, civic simulations, and several engagement activities. A couple of the highlights are the tour of the Law Enforcement Training Center and the panel discussion with City Council and Mayor. Each week, we challenge participants to engage in several engagement activities, including visiting a park or library location they've never been to, riding public transit, or attending an advisory board meeting. Graduates of this program earn a certificate of civic leadership that's recognized by the City of Wichita and the Kansas Leadership Center. We will meet Wednesday evenings between March 25th and May 13th from 5:45 to 8:30. And anyone who is interested in applying, we're currently accepting applications. Simply go to wichita.gov/CEA app, that's CEA-APP, or you can look for the banner ad on the city's homepage, wichita.gov.
Can you, questions later?
Got a question for Megan?
Later? We'll
No.
answer it at the end.
Okay. Any questions? All right.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, so I also leads into a good segue into opportunities for our parks job fair. So for those of you who want to not only get civically engaged, but take it a step further and take on a more formal capacity, the Parks and Recreation Department is hosting a job fair for a variety of positions from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. next Thursday, February 27th at Century 2 in the exhibition hall. They're hiring for full-time, part-time, and seasonal positions. During the event, you can see everything Wichita Park and Recreation has to offer, fill out applications, and potentially even have an on-site interview. So they're hiring from everything from park maintenance to golf courses to pools or even as mascot performers. Seasonal jobs are especially great for teens and those who are just starting out in the workforce. It's a good way to get some work experience, so please be sure to come out and apply. Tomorrow we have, for first time for myself as mayor, an e-bunk meeting, which is a joint meeting of the City Council and our partners over at the Sedgwick County Commission. That will be at 9 a.m. and that will be in this room here, so please come on out for that. We'll be discussing the city and county integrated care team and hear an update on mental health and substance abuse coalition. So be sure to come on out and learn about these two important topics. And thank you, and I'm be open for questions.
Thank you. Yes, could you guys explain why is it important for the community to get involved and engaged in the Civic Academy?
So yeah, I can answer that, and then if you want to jump in too. One of the things we want to do is make sure that people understand not just the role of local government, but also the best ways to interact with elected officials, and and also that helps, I think, make reasonable expectations. For example, on Facebook today, I'm getting people posting on my wall about street conditions, and it seems like they want me to go out there in a plow truck and actually fix the streets. And my job is to let them know that their best bet to get immediate assistance is to contact the right department and to put that information on a website as well. So part of civic engagement is not only explaining a little bit about like our role, but also how best to get your needs met by our local our local municipality. And go ahead, Gloria, let's see if you can add to that.
Yeah, a lot of the activities that we have feature things in the neighborhood level, and we've just found that increasing civic engagement and bettering neighborhoods, keeping neighborhoods cleaner, healthier, ultimately leads to safer neighborhoods and safer communities. And so we're just trying to teach people how to not only engage with their local government to solve issues, but also with their neighborhoods and their neighbors, and keeping neighborhoods clean, safe, and improving quality of life overall.
Just last comment about that. We actually have quite a few neighborhood associations, but not all of them are still active. So one of the things that I've been working on in the last month with community leaders is try to discover ways in which we can reactivate some of these neighborhood associations. As someone who used to be on a board for my local neighborhood association, you usually see an influx of individuals when there's a problem. And then usually once that problem's addressed, they somewhat, people go back to the normal lives, and sometimes those associations dissolve. So one of the things we want to do is empower people who are interested in making a difference, and hopefully for those who have the time to get involved in neighborhood associations or possibly even restart them. Other questions? We can go down the line if you guys want.
About anything?
I mean, yeah, within reason, Greg, but I'm pretty sure I know why you're here.
No, I've never been to this before. Can I ask you about the developments in that lawsuit that we found out about yesterday and the day before? What evidence led you to add additional names onto a subpoena?
It's going to make tomorrow's meeting possibly awkward, right? Yeah, I'll tell you, I do policy, I do city stuff. When it comes to law, I joke that, I only play a lawyer at work because we deal with a lot of law, but I'm not one. So I hesitate on giving too much comments on the progression of a lawsuit that's being handled by my lawyer, because I really don't want to, cross the line by giving too much information or not enough of the process. So Randy's probably the best bet for you to call.
Are you worried about the political fallout of adding the name of an active commissioner?
No. I'm not worried about any fallout in the pursuit of justice. Other questions? All right, if not, I get to introduce Ben. By the way, so when I do my onboarding, which means each department, I think we have 16 of them, gets to give a overview of what they do, usually I'm looking for the person in that department who I can go to who is likely the most knowledgeable and the most exciting about the topic. And Ben actually stood out. He might not know this, but doing the onboarding, he seemed like one of the guys who actually gets excited about this. He's exactly the type of person we want working in city government, someone who's excited to come to work and knows that they're really participating in our, in our society. So Ben, I think I might have mentioned that to you, but I still talk about you where, like we should call Ben. I bet he knows the answer to this because he's the type of guy who has one of these things open in a room where everyone else is watching Game of Thrones. So Ben, without further ado.
You're so kind. I can never live up to that kind of introduction, but thank you. Ben Nelson, Wichita Public Works. I'm also assuming you guys wanted an update on the snow response. Obviously, roads are getting better through the morning. This particular storm was a little bit of a challenge because of the timing of when it hit, as well as the temperature that accompanied the snowfall. I'll back up a little bit, and to kind of walk you through when we responded and when we called our people in and everything. 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, we activated our full response of snow for a snow emergency. That's where we have 60 plow trucks with salt and sand material spreaders on the back of them. We had them available just in case we had any early onset of precipitation. Obviously, we didn't see any snow or ice until a little bit in the early morning hours today. We had our new shift come on at midnight and had them begin pre-treating the primary emergency routes. Those are the north, south, east, west main arterial streets that we're responsible for. They began applying salt and sand mix on those a little bit after midnight, a little bit ahead of when the snow began to hit. And then obviously we started getting some snow accumulation at about 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. It got to the point where there was enough of it on the roadways that we could put our plows down and start effectively moving snow out of the lanes. However, it also occurred at a time when the temperatures were dipping to about 20 degrees, 23 degrees. At that temperature and below, salt becomes far less effective at melting snow or ice, coupled with the fact that we also had no sunshine because it's overnight and very little traffic on the roadways. We didn't get as much melting, obviously, as what we're getting this morning. And so the commute that we had to this morning had a little bit more ice and snow on the streets than what we've had in the last several winter storms. That was compounded a little bit on the city streets because there were several slide-offs and accidents on the highways. Traffic was getting diverted onto our main streets in North Wichita, South Wichita, and West Wichita. So we were seeing a little bit more ice and snow on the roadways, plus a little bit more traffic than we normally do because of accidents that were on the highway. So with the weather improving, I think temperatures are supposed to get at or above freezing hopefully this afternoon. Obviously the sun is out and we're seeing road conditions improve gradually throughout the day. That being said, until we get dry pavement, we're going to keep our snow response on full activation. We've got a new crews coming on at noon today to relieve the first shift responders who are currently out. And again, we'll go until the pavement's dry and we'll be ready for the next storm. Do you have any questions about it?
Have any numbers on the accidents?
I don't have numbers on the accidents. Our police department and highway patrol would probably be the best folks to contact to contact on those.
You talked about slide-offs and stuff on the highway. There's rumors that either KDOT or the city of Wichita ran out of supplies for a while. How are you guys doing with supplies?
I cannot speak to KDOT. I can speak to the city supplies. We have basically two sets of supplies, if you will. We have our primary supplies, which are what we use in an emergency response, and then we have reserve that are placed in two different buildings off-site. Our primary supplies consist of 3 salt domes, 2 substations in our main maintenance facility down at Harry and McLean. All of those were full, so we were at full capacity in terms of our salt and sand mix, about 6,000 tons of salt and sand mix combined. We also have a significant amount of salt storage off-site as a reserve that's capable of making roughly another 12,000 tons of salt and sand mix. So basically right now, rough numbers, we're about 300% of what our normal full primary supplies are because we have so much in reserve. So we have not run out of material. We're in no danger of running out of material, and we'll have plenty to get through the remainder of the storm season. And then once we get into spring and summer, we'll refill everything in advance of next winter.
Other questions for Ben? If there are any concerns about the snow or the streets, please give it to Ben.
That's what we're here for.
Well, long-term, can I just ask really quick, long-term, we've been in this 20-degree one day, 60-degree the next. That's not good for pavement, obviously. I mean, are you concerned about, are you kind of concerned about the long-term condition of streets across the city, just since the extremes just keep going back and forth every week?
Good question. The question was regarding the asset degradation, the deterioration we can get with streets when we have these frequent freeze-thaw cycles. And I think this is going on probably week 7 or 8 of where we've had a midweek winter storm, warms up to 50, 60 degrees over the weekends. Yes, that can be damaging to streets, and in particular in areas where we've already got degraded pavement that we know about, and we've had to patch with potholes in the past. This is a normal cycle though for us. Every year we go through the winter storm season, we get water seeping into cracks in the asphalt on the asphalt streets, and sometimes eroding some of the concrete streets as well, but primarily on the asphalt streets. We'll have pavement pop out because water gets in there, it freezes. When it thaws, it crumbles some of the pavement out. We have to go back in and put a pothole patch on it, do our best to try to make those as long-lived as possible. We've actually made some changes in the last few years to how we patch them to try to get a more durable patch. But it's a frequent problem that we have after every winter storm season and in between these events where we have a lot of issues of potholes. We get about 1,000 requests every year from the citizens on potholes, and we proactively go find another 60 to 70,000 a year on our own. If viewers or anybody in Wichita finds a pothole, they can either report it online at accesswichita.gov, or we have a maintenance line 268-4013.
Other questions for Ben?
There was a report of a sand sweeper that there was a report of a sand sweeper going into the canal overnight. Can you tell us anything about that?
There was a fire department, I believe, responded to a street sweeper that had gone into the canal. That was not City of Wichita. I believe, and you'd have to confirm with Department of Transportation, I believe it was a contractor working for them. Our street sweeper personnel were all called in for snow removal at the time.
Other questions for Ben? He doesn't mind hard questions. See none. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, of course. All right, well, I guess we're going to wrap up unless anyone has any other questions for me. Again, if you do, please just reach out. My goal is to be as accessible as possible, so enjoy any future dialogue. And if not, I'll see you guys next Thursday for our media brief then, and I hope to see some of you tomorrow when we have our joint meeting with our friends across the street over at the county. Thank you.